Hi, I'm Basil. Been supporting the team ever since Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney bought it. We're from Boston, Massachusetts, and you're watching the Wrexham Podcast.
Somebody can win this today. Kiefer Moore's signed match worn. It is match worn shirt. All you got to do, get in the comments down below, give this video a big old thumbs up, and make sure you are subscribed. All the best. Kiefer Moore, what a legend.
Welcome to That Wrexham Podcast. I'm Ben Toze, and today I'm joined by Ben Foster and the Wrexham AFC women's manager, Jenny Sugarman. Welcome.
Brother.
I love it. So we were saying on a previous episode that we're going to do it in Welsh, and Jenny's...
That's about my limit. Unless you guys are going to roll it.
Hasn't taken you long, that hasn't. It's very nice.
Where do we even begin then? So you joined the club and there was one player signed.
Yeah.
Talk us through what your first thought and, what do I do? What do I need to do? Initially sign players.
Well, make a lot of decisions really, really quickly. I think, obviously, all the players had already started pre-season, so they were like wanting to know. The whole group had, but they just didn't know if they were going to be given contracts or not. And then there was also players that were in on trial as well. So the very first thing, apart from obviously getting to know people, meeting people around the club in different departments, was trying to make some really good but really quick decisions around who we were going to give contracts to and who we might not.
So one contracted player at that time.
Yeah.
How many full-time players have you got now, full-time contracts?
So we've got two players that are the first ever ones in the Welsh women's game in the Adran Prem. So two players that we brought in Jodie and Katie, who obviously got fantastic pedigree from their time playing in England, and Jodie also in Scotland. So they came both, contracts had finished at Newcastle, and I've worked with Jodie previously and know of Katie through another coach. So yeah, they are first ever.
I was talking to Gemma about the two girls you mentioned there, Jodie and Katie, and she said
Gemma Owen.
Yeah, Gemma Owen, sorry, yeah. And she said the level of these two girls straight away, she said obviously they've got pedigree, they've been around the game, they know how to play. She said, but for the other girls to get to see it, to see what the level is, if you want to be up there, it's phenomenal, isn't it?
That must be brilliant for you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, the reaction of the players, Katie's first training session was pretty much like 8-9 days before the season started, and she came in to training, and you could see, because of her ability on the ball, she's so quick thinking, and you could see some of the players like, okay, right, this is a new level now, and worrying, expecting that defenders across the league were going to have some troubles this season. So yeah, it certainly lifted that, I guess, feeling. It was a bit, bits around like professionalism and driving standards, but also like what is possible from a technical, tactical, physical perspective as well.
Because as well, when a player comes in who's above the level,
a proper player,
the training just goes up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because everyone's focus just sharpens, and you must have seen that straight away.
Yeah, like it's inspiring for some of the players to be like, oh, okay, like this is part of our team now, and we all need to match those levels. But then also, I guess, a little bit of a challenge for some as well, of like, okay, I've got to raise my game, and that can be uncomfortable, but it can also be really motivating.
Does it send like shockwaves through the league? Do you get the same sort of treatment as what I think the men's team get, a bit of that jealousy?
I think it's probably coming. Yeah, I think there's obviously a hierarchy in Welsh women's football, and there's obviously a tradition, and Cardiff have won the league pretty much at a canter for the last sort of 3 seasons in a row, and historically Swansea have been qualified for the Champions League. I think they're 7-time winners of the league. So there's that big focus there that those two are the kind of the clubs kind of everybody's chasing, but we
benchmark.
We probably now fit into that category, and in some respects perhaps are getting a bit maybe more of a target on our backs because of the sort of players that we're bringing in.
Any chance or anything at the games? Have you heard anything yet?
To be honest, you don't hear anything, because the ultras are the loudest people in the ground, and wherever we go, it's our fans, home and away, that are the loud ones. So I've not heard anything.
How many travel home and away?
I mean, we've had crowds at home of sort of 500, 600, 700, which obviously we want more and more and more, particularly now we're at the Rock. But then away, sometimes there's 50, 100 of them, and they can be more than the opposition. So Britain Ferry away, that first game, it's pouring down with rain. we're 1-0 down inside 2 minutes, and my captain's had to go off injured, and then we're 2-0 down, and it's first game of the season. And without that support from the ultras, they were incredible. The support behind the scene that day. Without that,
so
I don't know if we'd have
yeah.
had the comeback that we did, and we ended up winning 5-2. But they certainly played their part in that.
You said before we started the podcast, you said that we got to play on the stadium pitch earlier on in the season. What was it like for yourself and the girls to see this carpet? Because this pitch particularly, this is Premier League, top Premier League standard pitch, isn't it?
Yeah, and we want to play on the best pitches possible. We want to play at the home of the club, and we've now got 2 homes for the women's team now with the Rock and the Kairaz. So I think it's something that we want to do more and more, but we've played at loads of grounds already this season. We've had a home ground at the Rock, we've had the home ground here, we've had the home ground at Buckley. We just turn up and play our football wherever it is. So yeah, we want to be on the best pitch possible in the stadium with the fans, with as many fans as possible, but wherever we rock up.
I know for a fact, right, that if you're playing on this pitch though, and you're getting at half time and the girls aren't performing, then you're well within your rights to say you can't even blame the pitch. You can't even blame the pitch, girls. All right, don't give me that one.
Yeah.
So you know, one thing that sticks out to me is the dynamic between having 2 full-time professionals and the rest of the squad. How difficult is that to manage?
It's really not, and that's testament to the individuals, both Jodie and Katie, but then the rest of the squad. Like I think what was really important is if we were going to take that step and we were going to bring those sorts of players in and make that investment, is they were the right sort of players. So they were, setting the standards and driving some of the professionalism, but they were also like really good people. What it has done as well, so we've added in an extra technical session to across the week. They obviously have extra gym sessions and stuff as well.
2 of them.
So it was originally just for 2 of them, but we get like 10, 11 players. So we've got players that are like changing their work shifts, and one of them's even handed a notice in at a job to be able to come and do more football.
That shows you they have driven the standards. They want to get better.
So half the squad are now able to. Some of them simply can't because of their full-time jobs, but we've got like half the squad now, making sure that they're available for that extra session.
What do you mean for the 2 girls that are full time now then? So where were they based before? Who do they play for?
Newcastle. So their contract ended at Newcastle in the summer.
Have they moved down?
So one is Katie's from Newcastle, so she's Newcastle's all-time leading goal scorer, and then Jodie's based over in the sort of Peterborough way. Apologies.
Wow.
But they've moved over and
so they're fully heading to the cause. Like we've got to do this properly.
They love it. Yeah, they love being.
It's a big ask, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's a massive thing.
It's a big commitment. Obviously, for any player moving around the country, it's a little bit different in the women's game because often. I don't know for you guys when you maybe move clubs, maybe your families went with you or you know that kind of stuff. There's a lot less support network for the players when they move. Often in the women's game, it's just a player up in sticks and with their bag and turning up at another club and trying to settle into the area.
It's even like knowing the local areas where to move in, where to rent, and where are the good places to go to.
Yeah. So the club have supported with all of that, and they've obviously played together and get on really well as well. So that was really helpful with that. But it involves having that kind of, I guess, that relationship prior to having worked with Jodie before, having managed Jodie before. It probably made that for her an easier decision to up sticks and come the other side of the country, into a new country, but the other side of the UK to come and play a football, but. It's a project they both want to be part of. So,
how's the season going so far for you then?
It's going
top of the league.
Right.
You don't know. You're not keeping up to date. I know.
It's not the Ben Toze podcast, all right? Yeah? It's not the Ben Toze podcast, all right?
Do you know what it is? It's called research. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, there's people at home that don't know this. It's the whole point of a podcast, surely. You ask questions.
All right, I need to research podcasts.
The season's going all right. Yeah, I think we've not been shy about talking about what we want to achieve at the end of the season, and we've obviously put plenty of investment into not just the playing squad but the staff and the Rock and everything that we're doing from the club. So we want to finish the season and be successful and win trophies. At the moment, we're top of the league, but like I said before, it's been so dominated by Cardiff and previously Swansea that there's a long way still to go. And phase 2, I don't know if you're aware. We have 3 games left in phase 1, which is when we'll have played everybody home and away, and then in phase 2 the league splits and the top 4 play each other again for the title and the bottom 4 play each other again to avoid relegation. So we've got some massive games coming up.
Who are the other 3 teams in that little group with you at the minute?
So it highly likely to be Cardiff and Swansea, and then TNS are currently 4th, but there's Britain Ferry are only a couple of points behind them, I think.
Am I right in saying that if you win this league, you'll go into, is it the Champions League qualification?
So Adran Prem has a place in the first round of the Champions League qualifying, but no Welsh team has ever won a game in that qualifying. So something we want to achieve. We want to firstly get there by being, and Wrexham have never won the top division as it currently is. So we want to be the best team in Wales and then have an opportunity to take Wrexham to Europe.
So when you applied for the job, right, we were in Australia and Michael was actually late to meet us, wasn't he? Because I think you kept them on the line for a good
I didn't know that he only had 40 minutes allocated.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it was nearly 2 hours.
See, that's what he thought of you before, and that's what he thought of you after that.
Was actually this when he was trying to sign Jenny? Was this at that time? Was
so
it?
I was in France I'd on a study trip visit to the Women's Euros. So I was in my hotel room in France in a place called Mulhouse. Like just some.
Is that with a French accent?
No. Well, we spent ages calling it Mulhouse, and then some French local was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was in Australia in these hotel rooms, and my Wi-Fi was terrible. It was so dark in there, and they'd actually asked if it could be filmed for the documentary, and I was like, "Absolutely not," because I don't even know if my Wi-Fi is going to work, let alone if he's going to be able to see me on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just turned into a really good conversation.
So they asked to come with you to film?
No,
it,
they
or
wanted
just
to
film the
record it on the
screen time?
Teams, yeah.
Wow.
This is like the negotiation process.
Yeah, this is still part of the interview.
Apparently,
yeah.
I heard it went on for so long though because she wanted an extra zero. She kept asking for this, and
She knew there was no budget. Yeah.
If only.
I mean, so you've been at Aston Villa.
Yep.
And West Brom.
Yep. And Leicester.
And Leicester. So how does it compare in terms of the structure of the clubs?
Obviously very different in size of the club and structure from, those are some traditionally really big football clubs with big departments that sit behind the football operations, which obviously this is very much a growing club with those kind of departments. So very different from a infrastructure perspective, but the amazing thing for me was the ambition of the club, which Michael articulated and brought across brilliantly, into that most football clubs, I wouldn't say every because there's still some that don't, but most football clubs say they want to have a successful women's team and want to be ambitious for the women's team and want to back it, but they don't always follow through on that. And I genuinely got the impression that it was different here.
Does it also help when you see it? You see that on the documentary that they're serious about
They're turning up to matches.
And also, it must be exciting, though, for you to go, right, hang on, I've got this little beast that I can turn into a big beast, and as you say, hopefully be the first time to win the
to win a game and then win a game in Champions. No, win a game in Europe and all the rest of it. No, I think it was evident from, like I say, from that conversation with Michael, and previously I'd met with Gemma and Les as well, that it was a big project. That it was, the team had turned semi-pro a couple of seasons before. It obviously got promoted to the Adran Prem, but this was a point where the ownership and the exec team wanted to really invest in and drive and make change in the women's programme. So that's something that, change within a programme is something that I've done before. So at West Brom, that was all a change programme. At Villa, we were going from part-time to full-time, getting promoted from the Championship into the WSL. And at Leicester, it was all changed with the academy when I was heading up the programme there. So they'd completely restructured. So, a project that involves changing a lot, evolving, developing a high-performance culture and environment, developing a squad, developing a team, the staff, everything with it is something that certainly excited me. So.
Are you able to... So, like I say, you've been at big clubs, you've seen change happen, you've seen what is required to get to the next level. Are you able to go to certain people and say, we need this, I need this, we need that? And how do you go about it?
And it's different at every club because they obviously have different structures and how they want you to work and stuff. But here it was week one, we'll sit down with Michael and talk about it all. And then a lot of my early work was with Tina. So, she's been really supportive of what it is we need, whether it was around more staff or kit, equipment, like there's just so many things. There's so many little things. Pre-season tour, all of it. There were so many little things that we had to make really quick and early decisions on that, and find make sure that we could get access to the right people. And Tina then opened the doors for me really quickly within the club, because that could have taken a long time to coordinate around all those different people. So just amazing support so far. There's obviously a lot of little things that take time, but there's nothing yet that I've gone, we need this, and somebody's gone, no, we definitely can't do that.
Is it going to be a little bit dependent on how you finish this season as to the progression for next season? So 2 full-time players at the minute. Are you looking to build on more than that for next season?
Yeah, I don't think this season's success or otherwise is going to impact next season. There's planned growth anyway. It's not going to overnight. We're not going to turn into a fully professional women's team overnight. But that is, Michael set that out as one of the top 5 objectives for the club, is professionalising a pathway for the women's team. So that's something that not just the women's department are responsible and working for. That's something that the whole club is working towards and buying into. So success this season I don't think defines what next season will look like. It's going to be a programme that grows really quickly, like everything here.
I mean, to be fair, you travel to away games, you do the night before, don't you?
Yeah.
Professional, really professional.
Yeah, and I probably wouldn't have come if that wasn't the case. Not staying overnight, but like the approach to professionalism, that was something that's important. Like I say, the ambitions of the club to be successful, to build a winning team, to create a women's team that sits within the Wrexham wider club, that the fans get behind, and that's a big thing as well, because attendances at different clubs in the women's game are very, very different. And my experience at other clubs wasn't always that buy-in from the supporters, from the wider sort of supporter base. So it's good to see that.
The women's game, it's kind of it's a big battle straight away, because there's money already in the women's game, isn't it? You look at the amount of money that some players have been transferred already. The WSL,
big budgets,
first £1 million player,
first £1 million. You got wages as well. Some of the money that some of the players are earning straight away, and you just think, we've got to compete against that, hopefully, in the future.
Yeah, and like if I will never begrudge the fact that the women's players are now earning good money, because they should, and they have made the same sacrifices, or actually often more sacrifices, to even get to this point in the first place. When I look at my squad and I go, okay, well, I've got players that are working full-time jobs, that are travelling long distances, that I've got one who's a mum. You've got all these sacrifices that these women are already making, as well as then trying to perform to the highest standard possible on the weekend. I think we should obviously keep driving that investment. But if you want to compete at the top end of the game, it's not small pennies anymore.
In your top 5 thing that Michael said then, is there a way in which the club goes across to England? A bit like the men's team is?
Yeah, I think at the moment we're
getting ahead of yourselves.
We're just super focused on, like I said, we've got work to do in Wales. We've got a precedent to set where it's no longer just Swansea and Cardiff that are seen as the top teams. We want to be seen as a top team. We want to be the best team in Wales. We want to be seen as a destination for young talent, similarly to how the boys' academies developing. We want the girls' academy to do the same, and we want to help grow not only our own team and our own success for the club, but also for the to support then the national team. Wouldn't it be great at some point if playing in the Welsh national team was a Wrexham women's player? Because at the moment that's just not possible because of the level and the standard.
Right,
can we do a bit of ACL talk?
Okay.
It's a massive problem, should we say, in the women's game. Even this season, an awful lot of players coming down with this horrible injury. I myself have had 3 of them. I just want to know if you've got a bit of a thought process as to why the women are much more susceptible as opposed to the men at getting ACL injuries.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of research out there, and there's a lot more ongoing. There's a lot more needed. I mean, just in general, like research on women is a lot less. Research on women in sport is very, very limited. So we've got a lot of research still to do, but there's a lot of factors that are factoring into it. So like physiology is a massive one, with the width of the hips and the pressure then put on knees. You've got things like the surfaces, so changing from playing surfaces all the time, different and poor quality playing surfaces. Boots, generally most women's players and most girls are wearing boots that are designed to fit men's feet, and women's feet generally are very different, so you've not got the same level of support, and then if you couple the boots with the pitch, You've got then some boots that are being designed, some crazy designs that can, support like the traction, so when players are stopping and starting. Whereas that's very different if you're on grass or on a deso pitch than if you're on a fully artificial pitch. So you've then got boots that are counteracting, what the surface is doing. You've got other things like menstrual cycle. You've got there's so many factors that are going into it. There's loading. Again, there's like limited. Most women's teams are working off a much more limited staffing structure. So how are we then supporting and managing individual player loading to make sure that they're being appropriately managed, so they're not overloaded, underloaded, so they're not then exposed to injury. So many.
At the top of the game, have they started to implement within the youth teams of these professional teams now? Have they started to implement proper preventative gym sessions, if that makes sense? Something where if they started at 14, 15, 16...
It might help them later down the line.
Will definitely help them later on.
Yeah, absolutely. From my experience at Leicester, that's certainly something we implemented. So we employed like movement coaches to work with our youngest players, sort of our 8 to 12s, and then had our sort of under 14s starting in their gym programs. It's probably still 2 or 3 years behind the boys, maybe at that age. So I think there's certainly a lot of work that will support then the athletic progression of the players that will then support them being less likely to get injured down the line.
You said about like artificial pitches. Of course, you guys are now at the Rock, aren't you? Am I right in saying that they were doing work at the Rock to get it up to standard?
Yeah. So there was parts of the pitches that needed repairing before it could be able to be licensed. So there was some time doing that, and then working with the FAW on making sure that could be licensed. But so there's parts of it that have been fixed, and then plans to sort of improve it as a whole down the line.
It's a great little place. So Kevin Druids, you should be there. You should go there.
Never been there.
I went through the hard
You've
times.
got no excuses now. You've got to get down there and come and watch one of our games.
You came in for 6 games.
We'll come. We'll bring the podcast down. We'll come and watch one of the games. We'd absolutely love to as well. Yeah, we would. I'll stand behind the goalie and just give a pelter. I won't do that. Everybody else loves doing that. I'm going to stand behind the goalie and give a pelter.
What, the opposition goalie?
I'd happily do a session.
What are you doing? Who are you doing? So, like you were both in?
Yeah, you could just do some long throw sessions or something. Yeah, we'd love to though, Jenny. That'd be an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
It is a great place. Like the backdrop of the Rock. It's an absolutely beautiful place, and the club are obviously working now on plans to develop that, short and long term. So it becomes a high performance hub for us to be able to use over the next couple of seasons, and then down the line to become a world class.
Who's the goalie at the minute?
Liz Craven.
I'm going to come do a session with you. Obviously we knew Dal Morgan, obviously we knew very well. Lovely.
And then we've got Chloe and Sophie as well, so you can get all 3 of them.
I'll happily come down and do it, as long as the goalie coach don't mind. Like.
Dave would love that.
Artificial pitch.
Yeah, I'm just serving balls. I'm not diving. I'm not joining.
No demos.
I know. Yeah, brilliant.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Appreciate that.
Thanks very much for the invite.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.